Hey everybody, welcome to Ellis Mowers. I appreciate y'all watching as always. Thank you for all the support. In a time where my view count is down typically, I think YouTube's been looking on me favorably and has been publishing my videos or promoting my videos a little bit. I've seen my view count jump up. Or things as significant as 2 cycles. Usually they don't do very well on the channel, but for some reason they've been killing it here lately. So thank you for that. I think part of it is y'all support, obviously. If y'all don't watch the channel, don't get any views and don't get anything from it. So appreciate that. And another thing is y'all seen me do a few 2 cycles, and y'all seen that HIPA has provided me carburetors for each of them so far. We've done a Husqvarna 136 chainsaw, a Home Light ST275 weed eater, an older one, and the most recent one we did was a Boland's BL250. I've got those videos here on the channel. Today I picked this up in a lot of a bunch of different items, which I've already made enough money off of to where whatever I make off of this is going to be pure profit. This is a BC30 Ryobi. It's a straight shaft. It's got the expandable shaft on it, so you can expand it into whatever. Seen a little bit of action. The primer bulb's so dry rotted it's gone, and has enough compression to run on 2-cycle fluid or 2-cycle fuel, whatever you want to call it. And so it's a prime candidate for one of these HIPA maintenance kits from HIPA. This is the 4th item they've sent me. The other 3 items worked extremely well and brought what probably shouldn't have been brought back to life. So that's good. I'll give you the barcode number for this. I will also put a link in the description below to their website, HIPA360.com, as well as a link to this particular carburetor on their Amazon store. These things are decently prevalent still. I see quite a few of them around. They're probably about 15 years old now, and they've actually aged better than I thought they would. So let's go ahead and get started on this weed eater and putting this HIPA carburetor on. Thank you again, HIPA, for sending this to me. If you have any questions about this video or any other video on the channel, you can reach out to me, Ellis, at ellismowers.com, and you can also reach out to me on Instagram and Facebook at ellismowers09. Thanks again for watching. Let's go ahead and get started on this weed eater carb swap. Alright, as always, we start off by opening this stuff up. Like I said, they asked for my feedback on these after the 3rd one. And I said, you know, the products are great. The packaging is excellent. This is packaged better than any other aftermarket carburetor that you're probably going to find. But I mentioned that these universal gaskets a lot of times don't cut it. That's one of those things. Nice isolation between the carburetor and the remaining parts. This box is actually kind of big for what we're after here. But you got your choke arm here. Choke on, choke off. You see it interacting. Primer bulb already here on it. A lot of times you get extra primer bulbs and stuff with these kits. Yep, we got an extra primer bulb. That's pretty much the HIPA thing. Oh, 2 extra primer bulbs. Enough fuel line to make everything work. Here's your gaskets. They were in the top of this box. They might have snuck through the plastic in transit. Savior brand plugs. I don't know if they're made by, I don't know who they're made by, but they've worked so far for me. Got 2 fuel filters. They are the same. Again, they just provide you with a bunch of extra stuff here. 2 air filters as well, so that's a plus. And this one's actually got the adjustment tool. This one in particular is the Pac-Man. That's kind of cool. Some of them do, some of them don't come with the adjustment tool. And this fuel line, if I remember correctly, This kit, if you buy it, is 20 bucks. Which is pretty darn good, because most of the stuff you find is between 12 and 15. The cheapest of the cheap. Get a little bit more support, and arguably a little bit better quality when you go the route of HIPA, because they actually have a support staff as opposed to just listing them out and just throwing them out there in the market. Close that knife. So that's the deal. Everything looks good as it always does from HIPA. We're going to put this carburetor on, this Ryobi weed trimmer, weed eater, whatever you want to call it now. I'll give you all a little extra look at this as well while we're at it. So again, here's your choke arm. It's the same on this as the other trimmer. This one doesn't actually have an automatic choke return, which is something that this one has, which is kind of cool. That's something that's different. Looks like the original carb had provisions for it. They just didn't put it on there. I don't know if I can show it to you. Right there under the fuel line, you'll see the little yellow thing, and then there's like something with an E-clip. So this is actually, if you want to call it an upgrade, it is an upgrade, because choke it down, give it some throttle, and it auto releases, which is really cool. Another cool thing about these Ryobis, I think they're made by Home. I don't know if they're made by Homelight or if they're the same people that made the John Deere ones, but they actually spin in a reverse method from most weed eaters. Most weed eaters spin like this. This one spins counterclockwise, so to speak. So that's another thing to note. Again, you can see on this one, this thing is messed up carb wise. This is a 30cc displacement as indicated by the model number. RY3004A is what we're looking at here. Pour open is good. Like I said, I've already tested the compression and made sure that it ran on 2-cycle fluid. If this stuff doesn't run on 2-cycle fluid, I don't work on it. Period. Not worth it. So this one you can get maybe $60 to $70 out of, since it's a straight shaft. The first thing we've got to do is we've got to push this down enough to get off the air filter cover. There we go. There's not even an air filter in it. I may have already thrown it away, to be honest with you. I go through so much equipment, I don't remember what I do to half of them. If we're looking down here, I'll get y'all a straight-on shot here. Down the elevator. Looking like we got some 8mm right there that we got to take off. Nope, they're 10s. My eyes deceive. Probably 3/8. 10's close enough. Take these two nuts off. It actually kind of looks like a pull rope's been put in it recently. It doesn't look like it's the original pull rope in this thing. That's an even bigger plus. Putting a pull rope in one of these, it sucks. I like the ones when they're on the back, but then if they're on the back, most of those don't have easy to get to carburetors. So it's like, do you want to have an easy pull rope replacement, or do you want to have an easy carb replacement? One of the two. Of course, they don't want you to fix any of these. So Let's see what we've got here. I wonder if this thing's just crusty, crusty on here. Or is the throttle cable attached to it? No, throttle cable's not attached to it. It's just been on there a while and doesn't want to come off. Alright, so now what we can do, let's take a look before we do this. So let's match this up. This top line from the primer bulb, or to the primer bulb, goes to the fuel filter. So the one on the top. The one on the bottom goes to the return line. You can see these things are absolutely trashed. So they're already off. A lot of times I don't save this little device here just because I don't really see a need for it. Literally, this is as easy as pulling it off right here and pulling it out and taking it off. You can't get much easier than that. Obviously, this is this thing is pretty much toast. I'm sure the diaphragms were shot in it because the primer bulb was completely gone. One other thing I've noticed, let's put these side by side while we're at it. Just like this. See the adjustments? This actually has a bunch of adjustments on it to where this one right here, I actually would have to take these plastic pieces off and then I could get the adjustments. They don't want you to adjust these things very much. So it's got labeled low and high on the carburetor itself, which is really nice. And it should fit right in with where our air filter and stuff is. So, old one goes in the trash. New one looks like it's going to marry right up to the existing gasket, because this acts as, this little shield also acts as the gasket, which is kind of interesting. Put the throttle cable on. I'm gonna try and take it easy with these bolts because I don't want them to be pushing back on whatever may be behind this plate. So we're going to try and wiggle this in. The throttle didn't get in all the way. Come on, buddy. There we go. There we go. So one thing I am noticing is that this thing is, it's like it needs a, oh, hold on a second. Like a spacer on it. Like a spacer plate. Like that, which I almost threw away. My goodness. That would have not been good. I was like, man, this seems like it needs a spacer on it. I know this couldn't be HIPA's fault, because otherwise they have some warranty claims or something. Alright, now we got it going here. Alright. So, put it on. It goes on like this, because you can see the imprints. It goes on like this onto the block here. And then I'll take, hopefully, one of these gaskets that they gave us. Yeah, one of these gaskets will work, it looks like. Will it? Yes. Okay. So notice that it was kind of a universal gasket on this old weed eater, and there's no saving that. The hole is on the top. So you got a hole on the bottom, but this is like a universal-ish type plate. And if you look on the piece itself that attaches to the block, you see that the hole's on the top and not on the bottom. Like I said, this is almost like a universal style plate. Put that gasket on. Now we can connect the carburetor. That's much better. It is rubbing a little bit on that piece, but I think it's more the throttle cable instead of the carburetor. It doesn't look like there's really any adjustment on that either. It looks like it's adjusted all the way out as it is, so, and it's as far as it's going. So it's adjusted good. It's just got a little bit of a friction. But when you pull the choke, pull it back, the choke actually comes off automatically, which is really neat. Alright, one final check shows that I don't need anything on this carburetor. So now what I'll do, before I put this back on, or is it going to be easier? Or does it really even matter? Yeah, before I put this back on, I want to go ahead and get the fuel lines and stuff. So for right now, I'm just going to put these nuts on so that the carb doesn't fall off while I try and fix these fuel lines. What I'm going to do, probably off camera, take excuse me, take these fuel lines off, poke them through the bottom, and just get them out by just tilting the weed eater out the way that the gas cap is, and to see if we can just do it that way, and we should be good, I think, after that. So that'd be nice. I'll show you how to put the fuel lines in this thing. Alright guys, this is one of the worst fuel filters I've seen for sure. I'm actually going to take this spring thing off and probably keep it to put on the new fuel filter. Varnish, sticky, all that mess. Let me show you what the tank looks like, because we're going to have to clean this thing out with some paper towels or something along those lines. Probably some not WD-40, but some carb cleaner. Get that kind of nice and clean in there. You can see a bunch of varnish and stuff. I got it upside down right now because I was cleaning out the fuel lines. I might see if I can spray some carb clean in it while I've got it right here. This should break it up good enough. Ooh. Oh, it's coming out the other end because I have the fuel lines off of it. Right. So I think I'm just going to spray some of this carb cleaner in here and let it sit for a little bit. I think I might have screwed the straw up. I don't know. But either way, I'm going to put some carb cleaner in this. Get that tank cleaned out. And then we'll put the fuel lines in. Alright guys, while we're letting that soak, I'm just restringing it. A couple of helpful tips here. This head will goes on like this. And then you have the string. Then you have this screw. It goes counterclockwise. It's a left, we call it a left thread screw. It screws so righty loosey, lefty tighty, and then it just pops this right off. One thing to notice, I am replacing the string because it is ancient, but and there's not much in it. But note that I've got it facing downward. We're going to be winding the string to, if we're looking at it like this, we're going to wind the string to the left, okay? Winding it to the left on this particular weed eater. So just remember that when you do this. And just slide this stuff just slides right into the to the holes that you'll see on each side of the weed eater. So we'll restring that. Hopefully the carb spray will soften up that varnish enough to where we can just kind of wipe it out or spray it out or do something to it. So I'm going to get the string and restring. I'll show you how I'm restringing it, and then we'll continue with the carb. Alright, here we go. So I've cut 2 strings that are equal lengths. Some trimmers, you only cut one and you actually thread it through the weed eater head itself. This one you don't. So it goes in like, we're going to do the top one first because that's going to make our lives a little bit easier. We'll see if I want to do these one at a time as opposed to you just stick it in there. It's going to lock in. Easier said than done, apparently. Alright, we got it locked in there now. And then we take it and pull it around and we start turning it to the left. I probably cut more string than I can use. However, might be pretty close actually. If you cut more, you can back it off a little bit. This stuff's not expensive at all. And I might have cut the exact amount that I needed. We might have gotten lucky here, guys. This is 0.095 strings. So I'm going to put that, let's do one more cycle. We're going to put it right there. We're just going to let it sit in the groove. Which groove do we need to put it down? This one? That one works, I suppose. So put it in that groove. I'll just cut off the excess. And not with that. We'll do the same thing to the second string, the one on the bottom. This one's got like, they both have like a little hook mechanism to where you hook it in on one side and then you actually pull it to the other way so that it doesn't pull out and kind of creates that hook mechanism, so to speak. This one's maybe slightly more difficult because I'm dealing with trying to go around the string. And plus this stuff tries to wrap back around on you if you're not careful. Yeah. Got to keep tension on it too, because if you don't do that, all right. Just keep doing this. Keep it in the bottom. And once you start getting kind of close to where it won't take any more, or it may start trying to jump, we're going to call it. Probably going to call it right there, actually. So we'll pop it up, let it slide into that area. So what this is going to do, we'll cut off about the equal length of string. That gives us about the same string. Again, we had a little bit left. That's a very small change, so to speak. I'm not worried about that. If I'd have cut it too short, I'd have wasted a bunch more. Let me get this on the bench and I'll show you how to put it back on. Pardon the mess, but before I did the string, I wanted to show you what that general carb spray has done inside here. And you know that varnish that we had? Check it out. So it's pretty much eating it all away, that carb spray. I just need to do probably just a little bit of cleaning right here on the edge. Again, this stuff isn't too bad. It just kind of, it would not bode well with the new carb. So I'm going to dump this out and then we'll resume with the string. I just wanted to show you that before we continued on. All right, so I'm not always the best at doing this, but we're gonna try. Give it the good old college try, right? So I'm gonna put the string through the sides of the weed eater. The goal is, what we're gonna do is get it squared up. I don't know how well I can show this to you. We'll get it squared up just like that. Now what we're going to do, I'll just go ahead and put the head on here to the weed eater. Get it lined up with the holes. Get where you had those tabs lined up with the holes, and we're going to push down. And so what happened then when we push down is it released the tabs and it allowed it to get into place. That bump head. Now we're tightening this up. Remember, it is a reverse. It's lefty tighty, righty loosey. Pull this out. Now if we push this head in, we should be able to, you see that head twist right there? And we got more string. That's exactly what we want to do. So that's how you put one of these bump heads back on this Ryobi. Not as bad as others that I've had. That one works fairly decent. Some of the others are a little bit of a headache. But now, back to the real star of the show, the carb. Alright, so now it's time to put this, put the fuel lines in. Now that we have a nice clean carburetor, before we put the air filter and stuff back on. We've got the fuel line. Got to cut the edge off of the fuel line here so that we can route some in there so that we can get it onto our fuel filter. So I'll go ahead and do that. These angle cutters seem to work okay. They always like to make fuel line fly around, but yeah, it still works. There should be enough old gas / varnish just to allow this to just cruise right on in here. If I remember right, the fuel line, oh, that actually is going in very, very easily. That's super. The fuel line for the filter was the one that went on the far end. So now what we're going to do, can't see it yet. So we're going to see if we can push this fuel line in enough to where I can, this is one of the easier ones I've done, guys. Wow. Push this fuel line in so that I can get angle pliers on it and pull it the rest of the way. That should be more than enough. Pull it the rest of the way out so that I can put the fuel filter on it. Oh yeah, this is great. Okay, stay. Can't see me do this, but I'm just taking these right here and literally just pulling the fuel line up. This is by far one of the easiest ones I've had. All right. Might run a paper towel through there before I finish everything. I got the fuel line up. I'll go ahead and cut the end off of it that I used to thread through, and now I'll put the fuel filter on it. I was going to use that little springy device again, that retainer, There it is. So put it on the line, put the filter on, okay, and then we'll just clamp that, and that allows the fuel line to stay on. We'll slide the fuel line back in there to a good spot. That's probably good. I don't know exactly how far I need to go. I put it midway. Because I figured that once you get gas kind of low, that you're going to need to replace it anyways. So that should be all that we need to do on that side. Remember, the fuel, might give it a little bit of extra slack, because you can always cut fuel line off. You can't add fuel line. Okay, so remember that one went on the top, so we'll cut that about right here. Put it on the top. That goes into the primer bulb. And then we have the return line, which we can just use from the same thing here. We'll do the same thing with the cutting it with the angle cutters for the to get it in. Once you get it in, this one kind of seems like it wants to be a little bit more of a booger. Get sliding in there. We'll get it though. It's because I'm working with a little bit less room. See if I can get these pliers to push it down a little bit. I think we've got it in some. You don't need to get it in too much because this is the return line. It just needs to seal back to the just needs to seal back into the tank, which is what it's doing. So, and then I guess we just cross under it. We're going to cut it and put it right here on this side of the line, like so. So in theory, I'll go ahead and put the air filter cover back on it and such. In theory, when we put this all back together, it'll work just fine. Okay. So, air filter base going back on. There was no gasket between this because we're going between a plastic and a metal cover, and it's outside of where the fuel line settles in. So let's see if we can get this to. Remember, this was a little hard getting off, so there we go. Okay. Sandwiching it back in. We're going to do the two 10mm sockets, or the nuts here. Got to use a socket to put the nut on. There we go. And nut number 2. We'll make sure this is all tight. Again, this is just kind of all sandwiched in together. And this has got to be tight, because if it's not, you're going to have air leaks, and it definitely will not run, even no matter what high quality carb you put on it. So good news is this kit right here did just fine for us in terms of usability and putting it on. Not too tight, but you need to know that it's nice and flush. Now, final step, we've got an air filter. Probably clean out this a little bit. Put that little air filter in. We even got an extra one for when we do this again in another 15 years. Honestly, this probably what happens is when I sell these things, they probably run them until they quit and throw them away again. Because I don't take these things back. They're 2 cycles. But see that? So we've got full choke, half choke, and then you pull it and it goes right back to run. It's a little bit of a hard spot in the accelerator there, but that's about it. I am going to take a paper towel and just clean out the residue in the tank. I'll get gas in it and we'll fire this bad boy up, see if it works. Alright guys, let's see if I did everything right. Prime it up, see if it'll fill the primer bulb with fuel, and see if it'll start for us. Nope. Oh, here we go. I think I got it backwards. I think I got it backwards, guys. Hold on a second. I did. Gosh, I had it backwards. So the fuel line, the return line is actually the one that goes so the return line is actually the one that goes on top, and the one that goes on the bottom here is your supply line in order to get proper fuel filtration. I probably have flooded this thing, so let's see if it'll start still. Also, I went ahead and put the new spark plug in it. It's easy to put a spark plug in. You just take the wire off, take a 3/4 socket, pull the old one off, put the new one on. Ready to rock and roll. Let's choke it. running good. I think we could adjust the high side out a little bit. Call that a success. Honestly, it didn't even need much adjusting at all, which worked out great. See if it'll restart. Make sure the bump feed works. Uh-oh. Lost a little bit there. Might bump the idle up just a touch. I lost one of the strings in there. That's too bad. I will fix that. But I'll fix that and we'll go ahead and wrap this video up. I think we're good to go on this thing. It's running pretty good. Like I said, I might idle it up just a touch, but that should be it. Alright guys, so that is it for this. I am going to clean it before I list it. Just want to get out here and do this real quick this afternoon because it's kind of nice. HIPA sent me the carb, so I'm trying to get their videos out. Try not to spam y'all with things that people give me, but this makes it 4 for 4, and I guess I'm trying to prove the point that no, you're not going to make a lot of money off of 2 cycles, but you can do it and still be relatively affordable and still have some, pretty decent quality for what you get. Like I said, I've done 4, and every one of them that I've done have worked so far on all the machines. What we have left over is some fuel line, a primer bulb, a fuel filter, an air filter, and a gasket. 2 primer bulbs, a fuel filter, air filter, and gasket. So that brought this Ryobi back to life, and it's still running pretty good. Again, this thing's been sitting up for a while. It didn't even smoke this time, so that tells me that at least the engine is not wore out like some of the stuff that I've gotten. So hopefully this will give it a little bit longer of a life, and I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Again, thank you HIPA for sending me that carburetor. This is the 4th one. It seems like everything's going pretty well with that, so I'm pretty happy. Again, y'all been killing it with the view count. YouTube's been promoting the channel a little bit more, and I've been seeing more views on my videos, which is also good to see. Thank y'all for the support. Again, it's a bunch of different applications for these weed eaters. I don't know if I don't know which all string trimmers this will fit, but definitely a bunch of Ryobis from this era, about 10 to 15 years or so, that still have the adjustable carburetors. Overall, these things are built pretty decent for homeowner use. I think they're built a little bit better than the Boland's and the Yard Machine stuff. Again, they probably were a little bit pricier too, but we got it fixed, and it'll go to a new home and a new owner. Hopefully it'll get some years of use out of it. So thank you again for watching. Again, I have the carburetor kit down below in the description. If you have one of these items and you need to purchase a carb to replace yours with, this is a good option. So thanks again for watching. You can reach out to me, Ellis at ellismowers.com, or you can reach out to me at ellismowers09 on Instagram and Facebook if you have any questions about the video. And I'll catch y'all on the next repair. See you then. And just to finally end it off, I forgot to mention about the string. I just had to pull a little bit more string out of it. I had it a little bit over full, so maybe had to take about 8 inches to a foot off each side. And also, I just want to show you how well this thing cleaned up. Just had a little surface dirt and stuff on it. It doesn't look brand new, but it looks pretty darn good. We might be able to ask 80 bucks for it now. No, maybe. We'll see. Thank y'all again for watching.